last name.
So your name, you talked about you, and there's nothing that you're interested in yet, so I wanted to come up. Doing a quick report and we'll call it the top of that. You guys need to be ready with it.
Yeah, thank you.
It is now 5:30. We will call to order the Twin Cities Area Transportation regularly scheduled monthly meeting for February and March. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Chairperson Williams,
Present.
Vice Chair Wright,
President.
Secretary Smith, present. Mr. Spencer, Mr. Nasdaq, and Mr. Ron Sanders.
Hello. Present.
We do have a quorum. This is the meeting of the Twin Cities Area Transportation where we will follow the 7 Norths of collaboration. The first order of business is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any other discussions or questions about the agenda? Roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbitt,
Yes, I'm not familiar with the, everything.
roll call, item.
I understand the roll call. Okay. The approval.
So this is the agenda. If you see the,
And I just got the minutes so I could read it.
well, this is the minutes, this is the agenda. So if you just look on that first, page where it says April 25th, 2023 at the top, that's the agenda for today. So you could just look over that if you feel like it's all right. Right now, you probably don't, know which way you feel. Well, it's my apologies. We didn't get information about a new board member, but it usually I will send you information to make sure that you're equipped. So now that I know, I'll make sure you're equipped for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Singleton,
Yes.
It is so moved that the agenda is approved. The next order of business is the secretary's report.
I have no-
All right. I suggest that we table the minutes for, 124, well, not 124, I had a chance to look over those, for 3/1/23. So I make a motion to table the minutes for 3/1/23 because we haven't had a chance to read over them.
Second.
And you know what? We'll have to table for, so can I have a motion to table the minutes for 1/24, for January 24, 23, and for March 1st, 2023?
So move. I'll second.
Second.
Nobody had made the motion, I just asked for a motion. It's okay. So we need the motion first, and then someone can second it.
I make the motion to table the
Second.
Well, hold up. So he'll finish off the motion, and then, we'll have someone second after he finishes, because you'll have to, for minute purposes, you'll have to make the full motion.
I'll make the motion to table the minutes for, you said 123 and 3/21, 23, report.
And now we can have a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion or, questions about the minutes for January or, March? Okay, roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Mr. Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that it is approved to table the minutes for January 24th, 2023 and March 1st, 2023. The next order of business is our chair report. I guess I would just like to welcome our new members, Commissioner Ron Singleton, Commissioner at Large, right?
Yes.
Commissioner at Large Ron Singleton and Mr. Spencer Nesbit. Would you guys like to have words?
For me?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. You have the floor.
You have a report, so.
Well, I was elected last Monday on the 17th. I've been in the city of Michigan and been out for 15 years. I've had my own diecast company, own my own company. I retired 2 years ago from a company, so I'm here to serve and do the best I can and make this board as pleasant as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Mr. Singleton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to serve this board. As most of you know, I've been in public service for some time now. And I know, how important our services are to this community.
Right.
And, hopefully we can make it much better, It's definitely a need in the community. I think it's a pretty good asset for the city of Benton Harbor. Just glad to be aboard to help in whichever way I can.
Thank you. Well, welcome aboard. We're happy to have you. We know that you are definitely a servant leader, been for a long time. So, Mr. Nesbitt, I look forward to us all growing a better relationship, getting to know each other a little better, and moving this board forward.
Great.
It has been a little friction, but I'm a firm believer that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Things get worse before they get better. So we're just hanging on in there and taking everything 1 month at a time. So welcome aboard. The next order of business is our finance update. So do you guys want to do 1 month at a time, or would you like to, while we're doing the finance, do it for February and March?
Can I do them together?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Hi.
Hi, I'm Molly Vincent. I'm with Hunger for Nichols. It's been a couple months since we've met, so I wanted to give a brief update on a couple of big things that were upcoming when I first came on to the engagement. The biggest one being the financial statement audit for the year ending 9/30/22. We had our state of Michigan auditor there with a
Just a second, sorry to interrupt you, but Mr. Nesbitt and Mrs. Singleton, usually how we do this, we'll listen to her full report. If you have questions, jot them down, as she go. And, at the end of her report, then we'll be able to ask her questions or comments. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I don't mind at all. One of the things I really wanted to highlight was June and Emily and how hopeful they were through this 3-week process. It was right when Oliver had come on as well. We worked really well with our partner in the state through this audit, and we're learning and moving forward. There wasn't many changes financially. We have the controls in place, and we're improving each time. One of the items coming out of this audit that we'll be looking at is our current organizational chart and understanding what our policies are going to be around federal draws last time and state capital draws last year. It was delayed longer than we wanted to be. I know that Oliver has been working really closely with Mark Epps, the grants coordinator, to get everything in line so that we have a good process to move forward, so we don't become as far behind as we were. So that's something that we're moving forward on. Also, with the automation of processes, we're becoming more efficient, trying to make sure all of our vendors and stakeholders are being paid timely and making sure that everything gets hit the way we want it to in a timely fashion. Our expenses for the year so far are a little lower than they were last year by about 12%. They were decreased in personnel costs, and there's also some decrease in technology costs at this point. And the fares are also down about 8%. So it's working out to be pretty close, bottom line, to where we were at this point last year. And we are spending down 2 new grants, 2 existing grants where the CARES money is now spent. What was great about the CARES money is that they gave us just the money 100%. Right now we have federal dollars and state dollars, which we had to put up a local match for to be able to receive. So we are working with our partners to be able to get things in timely and to be moved forward. All the reports that you received are cumulative, so that's why I chose to present them together, because the March information is now outdated. So the February information is outdated on the March meeting. The packet is through March. Do you want to have any questions? Oh, wait. My report is done.
Can you explain to me why do we have to, you said that we have to match?
Well, just a second, we need to put a motion on the
Oh, I'm
floor.
sorry, yes.
Can I have a motion to accept the finances report, the financial report?
I make a motion to accept the financial report.
I second that.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
any questions or?
Yes.
So,
Can you explain it to me again about doing the matching?
sure. So, a lot of times when you apply for grants through different agencies, FTA is a big partner of ours. They'll say they'll give us $1, but we have to put up 50 cents for every dollar of that. So they'll reimburse us for our expenses at 50%. So I spend $1, they'll give us 50, we have to also contribute 50 cents to that dollar. So we're always looking at either through fare box revenue, through local taxes, the millages, we're building our local piece of those grants. We're always looking to diversify our funding. Right now, I think our funding is about half and half between state and federal, and then maybe 10 and local right now. So we'll be looking to see how we can diversify even more to be able to meet those match requirements moving forward. When COVID hit, there was a lot of money that frankly I haven't seen come out before, being just here's $1. So we were very fortunate to build some fund balances during that time. So right now we're moving forward, but always making sure we're strategically thinking about how we're going to continue to keep the doors open. We are in conversations for our grant that are starting 10/1/24. So we're looking to make sure we're staffed correctly, to keep the people we have, to keep the customers happy, so that we can grow smartly.
You have the floor, Commissioner Singleton.
On the local match,
Yeah.
now that, those funds, are they like you said they come from like fairs and tax revenue?
Yep.
And what impact would this have on the fund that you have available now?
Well,
Basically, is the fund solvent now?
it's not solid. We have money in our bank right now that are local funds that we have available that we're currently spending. What we're looking to do is we will show each quarter we show our total expenses, and then they only give us cash for the piece they come in. So we're working through our fund balance right now. I think we have cash flows for 4 or 5 more months, and then if we aren't able to get money down in between that. So we are working to make sure we don't hit that 4 months part. So we have everything in line, internal control, policies, processes, so that our partners will happily reimburse us in a more timely fashion.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments for Ms. Molly?
All right, well, at
Okay.
least welcome the new board members, and if you guys need anything, you can reach out to the staff and we'll be happy to supply them. If you want something different next meeting, always go to Aqualonia, I'll just know.
I did have one question. What's the turnaround on the audit?
So the audit is currently published. I know, however, I know there was one of the items you're going to bring up
Okay.
on what our next steps are if we wanted our auditor to come in and give his presentation on it. I know Oliver and the staff, we worked very closely on our corrective action plan, which there was, I think, 3 findings. We already have one already taken care of for next year, so we're making sure we have the processes.
You said it was only 3 findings?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, that's not bad. It's a better number.
Yeah, we're making sure that we all know what the rules are, so we don't have to backtrack and things that are going forward, but we're able to easy one, and I know Oliver stepped up to certify our audit through the clearinghouse, so that had happened in a timely fashion this year, and that was one of the easy ones to correct, so we said thank you, and we moved forward. We won't let that happen again. It was I would say technology always has its quirks, but we got through it, and we were persistent with our partners to make sure that we didn't have that repeat finding.
Well, thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah.
On the card, do the board member get the, find out what the problems are that need to be corrected? We have a report on that.
Yeah, so in the audit, which will be coming out, there'll be a corrective action plan that you'll see what the 3 findings were. There'll be details behind them and what we as a staff and group have presented as a solution moving forward. At the very bottom of my summary report page, there was one action that I had specifically laid out for our group, is updating our policies and procedures to reflect what current operations are. That's about it.
All righty. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nestor,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the finance report is approved. The next order of business is our human resource update by Ms. Emily Coots. If you could, refer to the next sheet, it should be the March board report summary and the newsletter, and then the April should be right after it, if you wanna, follow along with her on paper. Emily, you may begin.
Good evening. So for March, we interviewed and hired a full-time bus washer, transitioned the new receptionist and operations manager, worked with the auditor and Hungerford Nichols on the 2022 audit materials. I assisted Richard here with the FDA annual drug screen report, worked on insurance policies and claims, and then attended various meetings with staff. The driver of the month for March was Lillian Bryant, this is February. And then my upcoming goals for March were to update the time off policies for management and employees, fill existing openings, and work on updating the policies and procedures. And then next is the March newsletter. So for the new members, just important dates, birthdays, drivers of the month, and then an employee spotlight. And then at the end, there's usually like a month-themed recipe to try out if you want to do that. Moving on to the April board report. The monthly highlights were we're assisting the onboarding of the mechanic and driver, organized the customer complaint filing system, worked with our attorney on legal matters, utilized new online sources available for hiring and employment, and created a calendar for the business office. Upcoming goals would be to work with Michigan Works on the Going Pro application for 2023. We have a meeting for that tomorrow. It's basically just reimbursement for training that we hold. So looking forward to getting more information on that. Looking to maybe transferring the time off request to Gusto versus the paper time off request that we do now. And then just to continue to update the policies and procedures. And then the April newsletter is after that.
Can I have a motion to approve the human resource update?
I'll make a motion to approve human resource reports.
Do we have a second?
I second
Questions and comments?
I noticed you didn't discuss about vacation on that. About the vacation with the employees. That wasn't brought up in your report. And that's something that I had given you about 3 weeks ago. And I got your email and I looked at what you had proposed, and sorry to say, but I'm still not, I'm sorry that I'm not pleased with what I see. Because it seemed like it's like everybody needs to know at the beginning of the year what their vacation time is. They don't need to know quarterly, you get this, they don't need to go to quarterly. It's just like in my job. When I have my job, I can pull up my check stub and I see my hours of vacation for the whole year. And that's what these employees need to see, not a quarterly. Only the quarterly is when somebody's 5 years or less after their first year, when they come back to the anniversary date, then they collect the quarterly, and after that, they get 80 hours. So I'm just gonna use this example. I don't wanna stay on this too long because we're gonna have to sit down and go back over this. The employee that's 17 years working there, there's no way that employee should only have 46 hours. But their employee only took a vacation, 1 week's vacation. So that employee that's been there for 17 years, that employee should have at least about 120 hours at the beginning of the year. It's automatically, it's not goes like a quarterly and bank it or however you guys are trying to put it. But I'm gonna leave that so long, and then Emily, me and you're gonna have to sit down and iron this out, because I'm not pleased with it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of employees are not pleased with it. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Anybody else have any questions?
You have the floor, Commissioner.
Are those covered under in union contracts?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
That was just action was those, like the vacation and lead time and all that covered under union contracts. Do spell.
Yep, so, so the union contract outlines it on a quarterly deposit, but the audit had outlined it in a yearly deposit. So what we were waiting to figure out was what deposit we were using, because as of just this recent Q1, they've received their Q1 already. So we were trying to figure out if I need to put the rest of the year into their accounts, or if we're still going by quarterly. The contract and the audit have the same amounts, they're just in different timeframes, if that makes sense.
But the thing is, why would somebody want to wait a quarterly to find out what vacation time they got? That's what I'm saying. I mean, every first of the year, whenever they anniversary, they should know how much vacation time they got. It's so simple and easy to do it that way than to do quarterly. It's easy to just, to know, okay, first of the year, this person has 120 hours, this person has 80 hours of their vacation time, then plus whatever they can roll over. If they want to roll it over, they can roll it over, or they can pay it, they can get paid out. That's the dilemma right there. We actually are cheating these employees out of their vacation, because if you got somebody that want to plan to go somewhere, they can't really plan because they don't know when they can, put their vacation time in, because you guys got a 30-day thing that you have to submit it. You got to submit it for 30 days. Okay, so then you submit it. That's 30 days you got to submit it. Then you wait a quarterly. So that's gonna tie up. And then, from my understanding, that the operational manager is supposed to put it in, but then you have what's the name of the company that you submitted to? They rejects it because it says not 30 days. So make that make sense when it's not being balanced out right with quarterly and they got to put it in for 30 days. It's not going to work.
So when you, Emily, when you say we, are you talking about the human resource, referring to the human resource committee, or?
Can you?
You said we're trying to figure out if you're going to do quarterly or yearly.
Yep,
So I guess I'm asking are you referring to the human resource committee when you say we?
No, what I was referring to is I received the audit and I had followed up with a couple questions and I hadn't received the answer, so I didn't want to do anything until we received that answer. And we had emailed that we were going to discuss it tonight, and so that's pretty much what I was waiting for.
Okay, so maybe that's something that maybe this week the human resource committee could get together and when you and make that final decision. Of course, we'll have to next month we'll probably fill the committees with the other board members, but for now, I guess that could be you, Mr. Gray, and Emily get together and see what you guys get and come to some sort of solution when it comes to that's fair.
I have one.
Yes.
I have one question. Is that spelled out in the union contract how the vacation time should be? And does it say quarterly, or how does it state in the union contract?
In the contract, it states quarterly.
It says quarterly in the contract?
Is that the Is that from the contract?
That's from the auditor. That's the auditor that I have. because
I do have the contract, or I can obviously get you a copy, as well, so you can review it. But it does say quarterly in the contract.
So, maybe Miss Joanne probably should sit in on that meeting as well, since she is the union president.
Sure. Yeah, and the contract the language is sometimes hard to interpret, so I'm open to any assistance I can get because, we do have to follow.
And I'm pretty sure everybody in that union will agree with knowing what their vacation, knowing at the beginning of the year what the vacation is, and not waiting a quarterly. That's for a person, like I say, after 5 years or less. They say if a person was hired in January and they have to wait the following year to accumulate to get their first week of vacation, and then it's a quarterly to add it up to the 80 hours of that, the 21 then up to the hours of that vacation. That's how it goes. But then if you look at it, anybody that's 8 or less, it's already at like 120 hours already. So my thing is, why not just put that on there, let them know that a person that 8 years or more or 16, but working at 16 years shouldn't have to be waiting. I'm talking about a quarterly of waiting for vacation time.
So let's just, when you guys meet, you guys can finalize which way we'll go, which direction we'll go with that. And then for our May monthly meeting, we should be able to be notified of what conclusion that you guys get, what finalization you guys come up with for the vacation. So with the customer complaints, is there a way that the board can also receive those? I don't know if it can go along with the monthly board packet, or as they come in, the board receives them as well. But we just have no information when it comes to customer complaints that's filed the correct way. The people who have followed protocol, we only just get the ones from the phone calls and the people we see on the streets. But as far as, only because that's just very important to keep up with. Those are the most important people. Our customers is more important than anybody, so we definitely want to know what areas we're lacking in. If you got some of the same complaints, we want to deal with that as soon as possible. So if we can figure out some type of algorithm where the board can receive the customer complaints as well, as long with the office. There was one other thing. Oh, okay. So with staffing needs, would that be a you question or a Nick question?
That would be most likely Nick and Richard.
Operation.
Taking over, yep.
Okay, so I'll say that for operations. Any other questions for Emily with the human resource update?
Yes.
Mr. Singleton, you have the floor.
Chair, as far as, I guess, is there job openings that comes through human resources? If I'm correct. Is there any openings now?
Yep, so there are jobs posted online in the new system that we've been working. I do receive them, and then they just get immediately forwarded over to the operations team.
What positions are they?
So right now, I believe the executive director position is posted, the mobility manager.
So staffing is your,
Just the job postings?
no, because I just asked, was staffing, was that an Emily question or was that an operations question?
Yeah, so I post, the operations takes over with the interview, the decision, and then it comes back to me for the final, checks, and then the onboarding paperwork will be done from my desk.
So staffing needs is the operations or human resource?
I mean, it's kind of a gray area.
Which should it be? Oliver?
Pardon me.
I said, which is it?
So I think what we're driving for is Nick and Richard, the operations managers, will deal with employees that are in the operations area, drivers, dispatchers, maintenance type workers. And so they really are doing primary, on the street recruiting type stuff, first interview type interventions. And then Emily does the processing, record checks, make sure that a valid driver's license and so forth like that. And then she'll prepare the offer letter that I don't know if you sign it or if one of the operations managers signs it, but it's certainly a team effort with operations leading for operations employees. Emily mentioned the executive director position on the interim. Nice to meet you, gentlemen. So we're looking to hire this position. Now, I'm clearly involved in that recruitment process as well as Emily and board, because it's going to be your employee in that case. That's a unique one. But the management type positions, that wouldn't be an operational intake process, if that helps clarify.
Yeah, management would be ED. The management would be the executive director. I'm saying as far as staffing needs for drivers and things like that. Who do we, so.
For drivers would be Nick and Richard. Dispatchers would be Rich and Nick, or Richard
Richard and Nick.
Nick, thank you.
Operations.
Operations, I'll just leave it at that. And the maintenance assistants and mechanic would be operations as well.
Okay, and then administration would be ED. Right?
Administration would certainly be the executive director as well as human resource.
So no, staffing would be as far as hiring would be the executive director. Human resources doesn't do hiring.
Well, they're part of the intake process there. The executive director probably isn't going to be posting on Indeed.
Well, that's onboarding, and that's as far as I'm saying as far as saying, hey, I need a purse carrier. I'm the person that says, I need a purse carrier. Who is that person to say?
I would think that would be the executive director
director for
that needs to
administration.
determine how many positions are needed in that office.
And operations for drivers and maintenance and dispatch, right?
I would highly recommend they consult with the executive director when he or she is hired, but that would be correct.
Okay, you have the floor, Ms. Smith, and then after you, that Mr. Nesbitt, you got the floor.
Emily, so, our application that you receive, do you push our application to the next process? Or do you weed them out yourself, or how does that process work?
As of right now, I'm not really even reviewing them. I just send them directly to operations.
So our applications are sent to operations.
Correct. And there are some that do come through the door paper, which usually they may get from downstairs. But yeah, they're immediately pushed over.
Well, Mr. Nesbitt,
Thank you. Back to the customer complaint, what method do we have in place to track those, to make sure those complaints are being corrected?
Sure.
And bring them back to the board to say, hey, these things have been done and they're not being repeated again.
Mhm.
So we need to know that.
Sure.
So do we track those?
We do have a form, a template that we use. And we actually have a couple copies here that we can share with tonight. But it basically states the person's name, contact number, address, email, the initial complaint, the initial complaint, what they hope to see happen from the complaint, and then the management comments at the bottom. So I keep a folder in my office. Usually when I get the call through my phone, I'm just sitting on my computer typing as they speak. Based on the severity of the complaint, we do offer a complimentary card or a token or two, just because we like to, we like to help our customers out. And so usually after that, what we do is send the complaint to the department that it's pertaining to. So if it was a driver or dispatcher, we go to operations, just to let you know, we received this complaint, and then what we do is just send the form that we filled out.
So your number is the contact number for complaints? Is that, is it written on the bus if they have a complaint, or, how do they know, or do they call the dispatch office? How do they know to reach you?
So they really call anywhere. We receive a lot in the business office, and I think we receive some downstairs as well. I could be wrong, but I know we definitely do receive them upstairs in the business office. And so usually it's someone who is calling, they're calling, they know it's the management line that they call, or it's transferred from elsewhere in the building to us. So, and sometimes it's just someone calling to check on a ride and they say, hey, I've been waiting. So we kind of get calls for everything everywhere throughout the building, if that makes sense.
But you only verify that through, actually use that on a written notice that you put in your file or comment. You don't actually go out and check it or verify, talk to the person that filed the complaint. There's nothing in writing. It's a phone call to you or to someone else, right?
So we do also have a form that customers can fill out themselves.
They fill it out.
Right, yep. So it goes, they can either stop by or they can call as well.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if this, for human resources or the staffing, but executive, director, that's the only position that that's the board hires. Okay. And I know you said, it's Mr. Oliver, is you entering?
Yes.
Where are we at in the process?
It's gonna be in my report, I'm happy to share it now.
Okay, all right.
Whatever you
Well, I just wondered, that was good. So,
It's work in progress, and I'll give you more detail.
okay.
All right, anything else for Emily? Human resources? If not, roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes?
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith. Yes. Mr. Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the human resource update has been approved. The next order of business is the maintenance and operation update by Mr. Ford and Mr. Lee.
Good evening, everybody. I'll start off on our monthly report. Start off, I guess, in the area of maintenance. We have hired a mechanic. With the hiring of the mechanic, we got our preventive maintenance back up to date. Yeah, we have some buses put back on the road that was off the road. We replaced the tires on mostly all the buses at this point. Of course, we had some buses auctioned off that was in the process already. With the more buses on the road, we have more drivers out there at the time, more buses sold. Our pickup time has went down, and that cuts our complaints down. We adjusted the schedule some, so we're trying to have more drivers out on our peak times, which also helps us cut down on our pickup time, which is where we get most of the complaints about. We have hired a new driver. Actually started this week. We have prospective new driver. We're waiting on results from his pre-hire analysis, and probably be starting next week. We took a road trip to Grand Rapids, myself, Nick, and our mechanic, to preview some buses that we have ordered, the electric buses that we intend to order. And, it was interesting. Today we had a meeting with Q-Ride. We want to provide some dispatch software updates. Also that I think we'll probably hear more about that in the next month's meeting, whatever we decide, and whichever we're gonna go with, we're trying to work that things out. I got us back online with the entry-level driving training. So now we can in-house, we can train out, we prepare our own drivers to get for the road test. It's required by the feds now that all new drivers or drivers who upgrading their license have to take this class. I'm certified to teach the class. I have got Dollar certified on the list as a provider for in-house. So that will be, that's something that we're working on, that we already got to implement. We will start certifying our own drivers. I think this is covered all. Nick, you got anything?
Hi, my name is Nick Ford. With the complaint situation is we're trying to get new drivers here at Takata. You know, we have drivers, but we have an issue with people calling off and they have to wait for an hour and a half. And then we only have like 3 buses on the road at that time. You know, so that's really most of our complaints come in as waiting time. You know, so we're in the process of continue to try to hire more drivers and put more vehicles on the road. I mean, we do have drivers, but we have a attendance policy as well attendance problem with people calling off. So, you know, that's something that we're going through and we're trying to attack it and fix the problem. So, you know, we can service the community better. So that's all I have.
Can I have a motion to approve the maintenance operations update?
I make a motion to approve the maintenance report.
Second.
Questions and comments?
Question. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, Richard, you mentioned about auctions.
Yes.
So are those, how would that work? Is that like publicized?
Yes, we use bigger D auction company, and it's all done online. It basically all goes through them, and once the person buy it, they handle the money and stuff until they come get the paperwork from us and all that stuff, and they pick up the buses. So.
Then with the buses, and what about like other equipment that you may use, like line mowers?
No, this is done.
Just for buses?
Yes. Well, I mean, we will do all other stuff that we're disposing of. Everything that's gonna get disposed is gonna get disposed.
Public auction?
Yes.
Thank you.
So how many drivers do we have and how many buses do we have? And how many buses do y'all schedule out at a time?
Mainly just about all of them that we have down here. I think we're working with 12 buses and 2 vans at this time.
And they all are out at the same time?
No, in the morning, we start with 7 buses at 5:50. And currently, we have 1 person coming in at 6:50, which I would like for that to be 3. We don't have the staff yet. And after that, we have a 7:50 shift which should be 3, at least 3, which we don't have the people for that yet. And then the last shift is 9:50. We got 3 on that. 3. We got 3 on that. 4. Okay, 4 on that. And we're trying to cover it. Once we get all these positions filled, then we should have the gap in service we don't have. Previously, they had went to basically having a 5:50 shift, a 6 o'clock shift, and a 10 o'clock shift. And if you had any call-ins on the 6 o'clock shift, then we had nobody coming in until 10. It was hard to contact anybody to have them come in and even fill in those spots. So now with the 7 people that's coming in, 6 that's coming in the morning, we can handle 1 or 2 call-ins, and it really doesn't affect us because we have somebody coming in within the hour.
That was my next question. Did y'all go back to the old hours
Yes.
how it used to be?
Yes.
So it works, it's going back to working better.
Yes,
So, the question she asked about how many drivers do we have now?
I think we only had about 12, 13, but we have,
All in total?
full time. No, we
You
have
know, we have about 18, it's 18,
18. Yeah.
18.
it's 18.
And so how many would make us like full? How many drivers should we have?
30.
30?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
yeah.
So what's the holdup? Because it's a lot of,
Well, we do have a holdup with buses as well,
Yeah.
with vehicles as
Oh.
well.
We don't have enough vehicles. We had all those drivers right now. We don't have enough vehicles.
so if people came, we wouldn't be able to hire them.
We are hiring as we get them through. There are people coming, we are hiring some people, and if they need training, we are doing the training. And so, we should receive another 3 buses, hopefully in June. And hopefully we will have people in places to drivers in places to drive those buses.
So as of today, how many positions as drivers do you need to fill?
12?
And we have the buses.
No, we don't have the buses for them.
So while we have the buses, how many drivers will we need to fill to make everything move fast, more of a fast pace, people getting picked up sooner? Is that the dilemma, the drivers? What is
Yes.
the dilemma?
Well, it's a combination of them both. It's the vehicles. That's why I say we're putting more vehicles on the road, and we got the drivers to place in them. Now we do have more vehicles than we had a couple months
That's my
ago.
question, so that's all. My question is, with the vehicles we have now, how many employees we need to put in those positions now to get those buses on the road?
Right now, for what we got, we can, not counting the new hire that started this week, we probably can need 2 to 3 more.
That's what I want.
So 2 to 3 more drivers. And I have seen people that work in the dispatch office driving buses. So would that alleviate them doing 2 different?
Yes, when we get enough drivers, and then therefore we won't have, if somebody call in, we have some replacements. As it stands right now, if we get a call in, I might get out there and have to drive the bus because we don't have anybody that we can replace.
So what about the drivers that there were a few drivers that came back with the CDLs that worked previously and probably left for different reasons. Would they weren't able to?
We tried to hire one, and it was they was vetted out of them. We were not allowed to bring that one back, but I should have another one coming in, the ex-driver next week.
So why we not allowed to have that, are we not allowed to bring that employee?
That would be my fault or reason.
I'm asking
I'm sorry.
Mr.
Wouldn't
Lee
want to
there,
be fair.
sorry.
The management didn't want to hire him due to his previous criminal record.
So everybody knows on this board and know that we are, what they call it?
Felony
Felony
friendly.
friendly. So safe to say that we are turning down residents that wants to come and work. But then if we don't hire them, they probably will go back and do what they was doing to get in trouble. I mean, we're here to help we're here to help, our community. And by turning them down, if they come to us, and plus if they was a previous employee, it shouldn't have been a problem. I mean, that's like discriminating to me. I feel like that's,
Well,
because I mean, when I was there, we had people that was at KPEL working there. Worked out fine. Didn't have any problem.
do we have something in writing about that we are felony friendly? Because we are, I have been working with the attorney with different policies and procedure. Do we have something in writing about that?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay, so I'll make sure that there is for future references so that we can have it outlined and it's in black and white.
Policies are always good.
Yeah. So with the dispatch office, so I saw that you guys said that we hired, I know that we hired the receptionist from the dispatch office. So is that office still complete? Or?
No, we short telephone answers.
How many telephone answers do we have at the time?
We have one part-time.
One part-time telephone
Yes.
answer? And how many dispatchers?
3 dispatchers.
So how many would make it a full, staff for the dispatch office?
We actually would need 2 full-time telephone answers.
Okay,
So if we had the 2 full-time telephone answer, so what shift would they be? Would be the one coming in the evening, then how would you do the part-time person that's already there? Would you make them full-time?
If that part-time person wanted to become full-time, we would put them full-time and hire part-time. We have currently no telephone answer, nobody answering the phone after 6 o'clock.
That's another part of our complaints as well.
Yeah, our part-time,
Nobody's in there at 6 to 10.
So how are we doing that? How is this getting? I can see the complaints now, but how can we resolve this and get,
we need phone answers. Our part-time phone answer leaves at approximately 10 o'clock. Unless we're extremely busy and we have to ask them to stay over, or myself or Nick is answering the phone. On Saturdays, we have to use a dispatch as a phone answer.
so have you guys expressed this with the, ED? The
Yes.
ED?
We've had this discussion many times.
And why are we not handling that problem? Why is it not getting resolved?
Well, why aren't we hiring a phone answer? Is that the question?
Plain and
I'm
simple.
basically, the whole idea is to create an algorithm where everything is moving fast for the customer. If the dilemma is, staffing needs, then, right now, people need jobs.
Right. I don't see the need for an additional phone answer. You have 2 operations managers there working primarily the same shift. And they were both in the dispatch today, and I give them accolades for that. They need to support that area. The phone answer, the dispatchers can answer the phones. It's not, it's part of the same area, the work area. So we have 2 dispatchers in there at all times, or a phone answer and a dispatcher. And that can handle the load. When somebody calls in, like we experienced today, when the dispatchers called in, so Nick went to dispatch and Richard went to drive because the driver, or dispatcher went to drive, they helped cover it. And when you have that coverage, it works just fine.
So basically overwork them and we'll be fine.
I don't think it's overwork, I think it's doing a
Mr.
good
Dutton,
job.
but the thing about it, why would you have to go through that route when you can hire someone to do the job? And then that's something that, it's other important stuff that Nick and Mr. Lee could be doing, especially with us short on drivers. Mr. Lee just expressed that he needs to be training drivers.
I agree, we've had
Okay,
that
so-
conversation for weeks.
Okay, so we having that conversation, it seems like the conversation is not getting results.
I agree.
I mean, you said you're telling me you agree, but it's not getting done.
I can
Just
all-
point of order. Mr. Nesbitt, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Well, we just heard that most of the complaints was because of delays. And what you're saying now is that it's a management problem within the office itself. People are not doing what they're supposed to do to eliminate that problem. Then it's not the drivers. We need to have more people, or help the people that we have now participating in things that they can do to improve this. And we're not seeing this being done right now. And we're gonna always, that's why I asked the question, are we taking a look at all our complaints? And are we finding the root cause and go ahead on and correct those problems? But what I'm hearing now, it's not being done. And we need to take a look at what we need to do within our organization, within the front desk, to eliminate those problems, or help with those problems. And you agree with me, but what are you planning on doing to make that happen?
Well, we started with the customer complaints, and a lot of
Right.
those are about pickup times.
Right?
And that's because we're either short of drivers or we're short of vehicles. Now, we're trying to accomplish that by hiring drivers that some have records and some have more serious records. We're trying to hire the
We
ones.
just still friendly, we're
Let's go ahead and
friendly.
talk, I can't explain to him and answer your question.
It's because he's making excuses.
I'm providing fact. I can't do anything else.
You're making
We
excuses.
we can hire
Okay,
all,
point of order, point of order,
Okay, I have a
point of
question.
order. Ms. Smith,
So
you have.
y'all really need a phone person in the evening.
yes,
That would help,
I agree.
dispatch out. That's what the need is. So that means we need to get a person in that position to relieve y'all of filling in that position every day because it's a need for that position for someone to be there answering the phone. And
I-
it's not fair to the part-timer that y'all keep asking her to work over and she's only part-time because she doesn't have to do it.
And then it's also, so when the dispatcher's driving, are they compensated the driver's wage? Or are they still driving and still receiving the dispatch wage? So, it's a lot of, that's why it's better for most people to stay in their lane. If we had the capacity that we needed, everybody could stay in their lane and we wouldn't have to worry about so much crisscross and people being overworked and underpaid. So I think what we should do is try to focus on filling those positions that need to be filled so that everybody is worked fairly and these people can get picked up faster, because that's most of the complaint. And the people not getting picked up on time is a company issue. It's not their issue. Mr. Singleton, did you have?
So they said 30 drivers would be, ideal.
Yes.
With 30 drivers, how many buses you would need to?
It's probably, I believe it's 18.
And how many we got?
We have
12.
12.
You said 12.
So about six buses short of having full, if we had full staffing.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's on the wheel, for our May, meeting. I would like to see an update on, the staffing and, would like to see us work better. And when you meet with human resource, that's also something that you guys can talk about just figuring out how do we get our customers picked up faster and get them to where they need to be, whether that's work. I know a lot of people have been late for work and they say because of dollar ride. And so, and that's the bigger picture, so. Anything else for, operations and maintenance? So we do have a maintenance, you guys said we do have a maintenance guy now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the maintenance and operations update is approved. The next order of business is the office update by Ms. June.
All right, so for March, we have, we found a website to create our paratransit IDs and our reduced fare cards. And like I said, we've been having a significant increase for customer complaints. And we did make copies to bring tonight, so for you guys, so that's what those are. And we just, when they've been coming in, we can keep on giving complimentary cards out, but they wanna have a conversation, like you said, what is our next step to make things better? So we've been going out, having conversations with them, giving a listening ear, putting ourselves in their shoes, and, following back up with them and, trying to figure out a resolution versus just.
Is that one copy of everything?
Yeah, it's just one.
Okay.
So
I'm
maybe
sorry.
y'all can just take a few and we'll.
Yeah, versus us just keep saying, we're sorry, they're tired of hearing that. So, we've been having conversations with them, giving them a listening ear to see what they're really going through. So we started like the new complaint policy and procedure, and it's been working out pretty well. And we're getting them probably constantly every day, so we're just, trying to do what we can and pass those on. We've been training a new receptionist, it's been going pretty good. And then those are our highlights, and then our upcoming goals. This is for March, us getting her fully trained, and we're still working on ways to improve the office and our customer service. Now for April, I had a meeting with Lisa Tapkin about mobile ticketing, and mobile ticketing is where, just say how people are coming in trying to buy punch cards and things like that. Well, I've reached out to some other transportation companies in Michigan or around the world to see how they do theirs versus coming in and having to, just have cash or whatever. A lot of people only have cards these days. So we've been looking to, I went and did a thing about a machine. It'll sit out in the lobby or something. They can come and swipe their card. It can go directly to their account with their name and all that good stuff, to where they know how many rides they have, how much money they put on their card, and it goes directly to the financial things with Molly, and then she'll know everything is right there. So we'll kind of be like, you still have the option of paying with cash, but a lot of people, they come and they have cards, and we're like, we don't take cash or checks. They have to leave, and it inconveniences them. So I had a meeting about that, so it was pretty good. I attended a LAC, a local advisory committee meeting. And we talked about improvements we need to make, as well as they informed us on some good things that we have been doing. So that was pretty nice. And we are excited that our ADA IDs have came in, so we're excited about that, as well as our reduced fare card. I went and found, like I said, a website. I did some things. At first we were trying to go through, I think it was you only get 10 cards for like $160, where I went and researched some other websites, and these IDs a piece only cost $3 a piece. So we also, for ourselves, with the operations managers, as well as the upstairs office staff, I did order us some IDs with our faces on it, with our names, so when customers come in, we can have our, versus them having to ask, a lot of people like to see IDs and see who you are. So we do have some coming in. They've been delayed, but they are coming. Let's see. And we're, like I said, we're working on getting our receptionists fully trained. You can't do everything in one night. Everything takes time. And I've been working on getting all the minutes uploaded to the website. It's been a journey, but we're working on it. And then we're still working on ways to improve our office and our customer service.
Customer service. Ooh. Can I have a motion to approve the office updates?
Make a motion to approve the office update.
I second that.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Williams?
Ms. Williams, so if we were to get the little punch card in the lobby, how would the buses be able to know? How would they use a card on the bus?
So I think we have a new software or something that's happening with like the electric buses or something. So they will partner with those same people to, say, my name is June Williams. She came in and swiped this. It'll come up on a bus, this, that, and the other, all their information.
So that would go to the new buses.
Yeah.
Buses, the whole
And they'll
bus.
have it's also one of them that they'll have like a card, something like this, and when they get on, they can swipe it, and then it'll say, oh, your balance is empty, is low, or whatever. Do what you need to do.
Okay, any other questions? So with these complaints, I guess this would probably be a question for the operations. Is there any type of customer service training that we give dispatchers and phone answers?
Yes. I go and talk to them. If, with these complaints, when we do receive them downstairs in our office, they will be investigated. And if it's actual complaint, then I do make adjustments, whether if it's a disciplinary action to the driver or the person that's doing the complaint, whether it's dispatcher, or phone answer, or whoever it is driving. Most of the complaints that we get downstairs is about waiting. And it thoroughly has to be investigated, because a lot of times it's saying, I've been waiting 2 hours. I may have personally took that call 35 minutes ago. And but
I
the
think
ones that are that's actual complaints, it gets resolved.
I think it would probably, you know, what you having to wait on a ride, and then you call about it and you get, poor customer service. It's just like an all-around no. So at least when they're waiting, when they call, they could be handled with care as well and make them feel a little better about the wait, maybe.
Yes.
So, I'm not sure if it's some type of training that we can have, that you guys can find for them to go through as far as customer service. I will admit, I have called a few times and, the reaction is not really that nice until they found out when I say 1021 or say something, then the tone changes. But, I do think it needs to be some type of customer service training or something. I don't know wherever Chick-fil-A train their people, because those are like the nicest people ever. Maybe we can, figure out something for our customer service to be better, because those complaints weren't about waiting. Most of those complaints were about, rudeness and comments that were made, you know, you find another ride and stuff like that. We're adults, so, you know, it's a company. We shouldn't be talking to our club customers like that, especially when we know that they happen to wait a long time. So that's something that you guys can talk to them about and then look into some type of program or training for, customer service.
The complaints that we get, we will handle. You know, but we do need to get all the complaints, you know, but it's, you know, if it's 4 days later that I hear about something.
So are you guys not receiving the complaints as soon
we're
as
not
they come
receiving-
in?
No, we're not.
So when we get these complaints, we're all actually in on the email and we CC Oliver and everyone's on the complaint on the email.
So when you get the complaint comes in to Emily, right? Maybe
Everyone.
It comes into
Honestly,
everyone.
yeah.
But
So-
sometimes like she may be on the phone or she may be doing something and Gaynell will get one and she's calling for, you know, like to see what she should do. If it's an irate customer, then another one may call, she'll say, here's another one that I may get it. They may be calling downstairs. It's just like, it's been all around.
Oh, and so I just have the name at the bottom of who takes in the complaint?
Yeah. And majority
So-
of people have been tired of calling and they've been actually stopping into the actual building and actually filling out the complaint.
So after they make the complaint and you file it, you guys have to scan it and email it? Or you, okay, and so when you email it, you send it to Oliver and Nicholas and Richard?
Correct.
And that's what Ms. Gaynell, and that's what you do,
Mhm.
and that's what you do?
Well, we give it to Emily. At the end of the thing, we give it to Emily and then she goes ahead and.
Oh, okay,
she-
so, Emily is the liaison between, the customer complaints and the operations director.
Right.
And you guys haven't been receiving any emails about the complaints from Emily?
I haven't seen an email with a whole bunch of complaints on it. I
I'm
haven't.
happy to forward them to you again.
Okay, so, maybe you could try to follow up after so many and, maybe see if you received them. We can also add a follow-up. I see that you guys write what you say on the phone, but we can also add to the bottom of that, what, a follow-up. Maybe that next week, I don't know who would, be the point person to do that, but maybe that next week, a follow-up call to those, customers.
One thing, if it's not a team effort, nothing will get resolved. So it's gotta be a team effort. You guys gotta communicate with each other to make sure that, these complaints get resolved. Because, I mean, I walk into a grocery store and people walking up to me, are you still doing such and such complaining? And we shouldn't be getting this, you know? So it needs to be a management and team effort to get this resolved. Everybody should on board with this. All management should be on board to get this resolved.
Any other comments for, Mr. Singleton?
Are the phone calls, is it a recording system for like quality control?
I don't know.
It's supposed to be in place, but, I have requested to get a recording, and I was told that we don't have the capability, but previously when I was here, when we installed this new phone system, we were supposed to be able to record calls.
Well, I think it's something, look deeper into it. It's something that we can do so we can at least, try to do that.
It will kind of protect, on both sides, get an accurate, account of what, what happened, because, I know people will make up stuff, it's,
And exaggerate.
yeah. And so, and when they call, say, call them, they record it for quality control, if they want to continue to talk, sometimes they might calm them down or something, knowing that, say, hey, you're being recorded, so you can clown if you want to, or you can restrict, and then also for the, employee too. This is public, all of this, public fund.
Yes.
All right, any other comments or questions? We're happy to announce that the lobby is open to the public now. So they can come in and purchase ticket tokens, and cards and things like that. So that's a good thing. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the maintenance and operations report is approved. The next order of business is the office update for Ms. June Williams is approved. The next update is the grants, update. Will you give that? Is he here? Is he gonna?
He's virtual, he's out of state, so I can give it, but I don't, if it's proper, Madam Chair, Tara Greer, did you want to say anything about the website? 'Cause I know
Well, that's next. We got to
website's
follow.
on
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
So is Mr. Epps gonna do a report or no?
He's in North, or
no, he didn't
Kentucky.
respond.
No, I know where he is, but we could have had him remotely like we have before. So he's not gonna be reporting today.
No,
So
he's
we'll
not.
just, you guys will have, our grants manager was, hired, he lives in Kentucky, or where is it? Tennessee? Kentucky,
Or yeah, I think you're right, Tennessee, come to think of it,
Tennessee.
Nashville.
in the South. So he lives in the South, so, periodically he'll report remotely. But if you can refer to the documents for the grants and procurement manager, you can look over it, and, if you have any questions, you can refer back to Oliver. So it should be just one March, so he didn't have an April, right?
I can provide the updates, we work very closely together, that's my background,
It's almost the same thing.
federal compliance.
We can read it.
Okay.
The next order of business will be the communications mobility specialist, Ms. Tierra Allen.
Hello, everyone. Nothing major. We're going to launch and go live, if not the end of this week, the beginning of next week. We're going to go live without the team page being active until we get headshots or selfies or however we're gonna do it. But we will be going live. And I talked to Mr. Lindsay today, so we know how we're gonna move forward. I'll get what I need to get to him tomorrow. And we'll be live in a week. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to approve the communications mobility specialist report?
I make a motion to approve the mobility report.
Any questions or comments? There's got a paper report for, she controls the website and our socials and our media, and things like that, so that's what her, job description is. So we will have a media day. We just have to set everything in stone. Now we have a complete board, so we can set a day for headshots. And we'll go on the website and things like that, just to stay up to date and make our website more modern. The next order of business is the intern director report.
Okay. You can read what's on here, or you can just breeze through it, because we have several other items that need addressing. We apply to MDOT annually for money, we're about 3 months behind. I have the final documents that we'll need a board secretary's signature on if we want to apply for money from MDOT. I have several documents to share. It's all from in your packet. I don't believe the was Felicia's, resolution.
It's in there.
It's in the packet, great, thank you, Jim.
So but you have the originals, correct? That she would have to sign.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just,
in your packet.
yeah, it's on my package.
Yeah, so everybody have copies.
Yeah,
This
we have
packet-
copies.
This packet has the main, you know, like,
The one that you will have to sign.
yeah.
It's in there, let's see. Okay, so that's the MDOT funding, that's one of our cognizant agencies, they give us about $1 million a year for operational and some capital matches. We're successful with the LAC meeting, it's the local advisory council, it's a requirement of MDOT to have that in the application. And June worked diligently to hunt the signatures down from the chair of the LAC meeting, so we have that, it's ready to go. We need another signature in that application as well. I want to try to make clarity on signature persons here. At one time, I was told Nick is in charge of signing documents, so I prepared the contract clause document for Mr. Ford. MDOT informs me that the authorized signature is Mr. Lee. So I think it's good to try to have two signators in case something happens to redundancy, and MDOT has no problem with that. So if this form for contract clauses, it's agreeing that we're going to comply with all the clauses of the MDOT contract, which you can't get the money unless you do that, has Mr. Ford on it, and I would suggest we have Mr. Ford sign that. And we always have Mr. Lee as a backup. He signed documents when he was approved to sign documents when he was the interim director before Ms. Great. Or I can have this form changed tomorrow and put Mr. Lee on it if the board wishes.
We already
What
have-
is what do you feel is best? So we could just keep it as it is.
Yeah, I would think I want to get this application 3 months late. I'd like to get it in as quickly as
Yes.
possible. And as long as the board is approving it, there's no problem there. So if you'll be so kind, Mr. Ford. Let's see, we're still working on Ms. Smith's document. Did you find it, June? Okay, we're doing it. Great, thank you. That's another document, so that MDOT application should be complete. I'm sure they'll find something we need to edit. It seems to be one of their jobs. Let's see.
Did you need me to sign?
Pardon me?
Did you need me to sign?
No, they won't. You're just the board chair. Didn't mean it that way, but
Okay.
it says board chair, and you're the board chair. Let's see, number 3, second bullet. I've only worked my way through 2. We've reprogrammed the CARES funding from other capital projects to this professional services line item as per FTA's guidance. The professional service will cover recruitment of the executive director and any other professional services the board deems necessary. You have used that quite a bit in the past without a full reimbursement. This way you're getting 100% reimbursement on that. We can talk about those percentages you asked about earlier as I move through this. But that's a great segue into the 2 contracts that Attorney Derby has drawn. It's in your packets. These are architectural and engineering services. Well, we're going to be spending $100,000 roughly on each of these contracts. I don't spend that kind of money without the board knowing it and being documented in the minutes. So you're certainly welcome.
We don't recommend you to.
Sorry. I mean, it was done by the Takata attorney, so I can feel confident with it. I provided clauses that he needed to comply with Federal Transit Administration, who will be paying either 80% or 100%, depending on which grant you take the money from.
You need a signature for that?
I just need a board roll call vote, please.
Do you want us to go ahead and, do that now, or would you like?
I would like, if we could, I want to try to keep moving through the list here.
Okay.
That would be a great point to do it.
So the draft here is for the professional service agreement for transit consulting services. It's the first one. Do you guys have that? It looks like Mr. Nesbitt doesn't have it,
This is nothing doesn't have it.
What's that?
because, did you make enough copies? 'Cause
No, I didn't know
we
they were,
know that we
I didn't know they were
were
gonna be here.
You're welcome. Well,
We can read them.
But what I can do is I can get their emails and then I can go ahead and just email them
We
the
can just open
information.
mine for now.
I'm good.
yeah, turkey. Sure, I'll take it.
So we're looking at that.
Looking at these,
Yeah, I'm just giving you guys a second to look over before you, approve.
She won't know about it.
You got it.
Actually.
We'll take about, 1 more minute.
Okay.
All right.
You did say the attorney did look over the agreement.
Yes, the attorney actually sent it to me as well, and I did have a chance to, thoroughly read through, them as well. So things like this, you guys will get ahead of time. I didn't know that you guys were gonna be here today, but, just rest assured, you will be equipped and have everything you need for next week.
Thank you.
I'll just get your email, before you leave, make sure that, June get your name, and then you can give them a Takata email.
Yep, I'll get them one tomorrow and then I'll send all this information to their email. We'll send it.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the professional service agreement for transit cost consulting services?
I make a motion to approve the transit consultant.
If you guys don't feel comfortable, vote, let me know. Okay,
I'm good. My question was with the attorney, so I'm, I say,
okay. Any other questions or, concerns about this particular contract? If none, roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
yes.
It is so moved that the professional service agreement for transit consulting services is approved. And the next contract is the agreement for architectural and engineering services. Can I have a motion to approve this contract?
Engineering service report. I'm sorry, I make a motion.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments pertaining to this agreement? If there are none, it is so moved that the agreement for architectural and engineering services is approved. Oh, sorry, roll call. Yeah, we can do roll call, so I'll take, we gotta go through roll call for that.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the agreement for architectural and engineering services is approved.
Thank you, Board. Continue with the report. The National Transit Database report was submitted, although again, past due. They've sent it back to me twice now. And the most recent time is they want to know why, this is just today, why ridership is down when most of the countries is up after the pandemic. So I'll have a conversation with operations about that. Try to provide explanation. Meeting attendance, in order to continue to get funds, we have to participate in the planning process here with the Twin Cats agency that's run by Southwestern Michigan Planning Commission. And we have projects programmed into that. And then we're Mark is trying to put those into the grants that we have on your report there. So that's just compliance type stuff. As Richard alluded to, we have electrical vehicle plans. And this is another item that needs to be addressed by the board. I provided in the board packet 3 different quotes, shall we say, there'll be contracts from Hoekstra Transportation. It's that grid spreadsheet.
This way.
Yep. One of them is for electric vehicles, and we have those funds currently in a grant. The previous administration, and I'm certainly in agreement with it, operations has been up to this point. I don't know if they have any comment on it, but they're going to drive 3 Ford Transit electric buses. Perhaps you've seen them around town. They're a little bit taller vehicle than the traditional 12-passenger van. I went and checked them out previous to Nick and Richard checking theirs out. And it's amazing technology. I wouldn't recommend it for home use, but certainly for public transit where you can recharge, more frequent at a planned basis. It's, I think, the way everything's going to go in public transit in the next 20 years as they improve the technology. So that's the one that says electrics on there, and there's going to be 3 of those funded in the grant right now. Some of the funding that I go to those meetings for and mark programs into the grants, we have additional funding, and we're not all, the staff, I say all, myself and operations aren't all comfortable that electric's going to be the save-all and all right now. So we do have funding this program to the tip that will be in a grant for 3 gas vans. You talked 3, right?
Yes.
3. And that's, again, that tall Ford van. These are nice because they're only required chauffeur's licenses, so we can hire some more of the community folks that don't have the commercial driver's license. And the third spreadsheet in there is for the traditional cutaway that Takata operates, the bus that you're seeing on the road right now. It is the shorter version of the cutaway with 14 seats in it. So we can also use the chauffeur license individual on that vehicle as well. So we're trying to plan for the future with staffing and with vehicles. frankly, the build times is just incredible. They're 12 to 18 months for anything. So the sooner we move ahead with these projects, to, I won't say soon we'll get vans, but it's not getting any shorter time frame. And some of the big properties in Michigan are ahead of us, or salesmen's threatening they're going to be ahead of us on the list, which when Smart orders 200 of them, it's kind of tough to get our 3. So I need to make you aware, because of the dollar amounts of the purchases, and I would again like request a board vote on singular or all together to increase the fleet by contract.
So, you need the approval to, you said increase the fleet?
Right, well, that would be either worded or to purchase as per the Holstra agreement, however you feel comfortable wording it. But Holstra has a unique situation in the state of Michigan. Whenever you buy anything with federal dollars, you really have to go through a competitive procurement process. We have done that with the executive search. We have done that with the A&E, the 2 contracts you just approved. Holstra bids against other vehicle manufacturers or converters, like we call them, because they're putting, bodies on existing chassis, custom made. And so the state of Michigan bids this out. And we, Takata, don't have to go through the competitive process we had to go through here. And so Holstra has been successful, responded to the state's documents for years now, and they provided buses for it previously, and I imagine they will continue.
So is it safe to call it the Holstra?
Holstra bus purchase, yeah, bus, yeah.
Okay.
Just as long as we got it in the minutes, we're buying vehicles and, from Holstra and,
So we'll just do all at once. Did everybody get to refer to this sheet? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the Holstra transportation plan?
Motion to approve. I second it.
Second.
Any questions or comments concerning the electrical buses?
I do have one. When it comes to electric buses, we plan ahead of about what we're gonna put the hubs at for the chargers. And we're looking at planning ahead, so we can make sure that we have a spot for those buses to be charged.
yes, physically in the building, certainly Nick has been involved with this since day one, and he has some ideas. The A&E firm that we're gonna now hire after your approval on that will be in there doing the, design for the charging stations and so forth. We've been working with Ford Motor Company. They sell the product to charge their vans, of course, and so, we're gonna determine, there's 2 different types of chargers, fast and slow, or AC and DC. And we're working with the operations, I'm working with the operations, Ford's working with the operations guys to determine how many outlets we'll need, let's say. The fast charge deteriorates battery life much faster, so we prefer the slow charge, which is overnight. But we're probably gonna have, 3 in 1, something like that, I think we talked about last time. Once we get the A&E guys in there, we'll have a much better grasp on where it's gonna go in the building, working with Nick and Richard.
Okay.
And we're working on a grant to get some of that paid for and not have to use our FTA money, so knock wood, that one will be successful. It's also with MDOT partnering with multiple agencies around the state, so we have a bigger bang for our buck when it comes to the legislators awarding, and it's a discretionary grant, a competitive grant, unlike the grants we've talked about so far, which are statutory, meaning we get them every year by statute in the law. This is for a quick grant lesson.
Thank you.
And roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the Holstra transportation plan is approved.
Thank you, board, again. Looks like I jumped ahead because Secretary Smith knows about the resolution and they're gonna get it signed in front of a notary, which I guess I thought we had a notary, but thank you for taking care of that. The next item is the interim director's contract that was not executed at the previous board meeting. You guys have been paying me, I appreciate that. but we have that in your packet as well. I have the original here.
Yeah, so we've already went over this, so you can, you guys can look at the, contract for the interim director. So basically, he just needs the contract to be signed, approved by the board and signed. I'm giving you guys a minute to look over it if you didn't have a chance to.
And the resolution and contract, two documents there.
You guys got one more minute? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution of appointment of the interim executive director?
I make a motion to approve the interim directors.
Resolution.
I second.
Any questions or concerns? Comments? I will say that, I do agree with the contract. I will, it would probably be best not to make so many concrete decisions, being that we will have another executive director coming in, and that will probably make so many other changes. So, just keep in mind of that, and let's not make too many concrete changes right now. Also with the firm, remember, we did talk about it, but we would like to speed up the process. The way things are going, I don't think we could go till July 1st without having somebody in place as the actual executive director. Only because we need things to be concrete to move forward. But we don't want to have you make those decisions and then somebody else come in and make new decisions, other decisions right after that, and then we have to change things all the way back. So just to keep that in mind, not saying don't.
I agree with you 100%. That's why I don't want to be a signer on some of the stuff that we're doing, because there's no point in me being a signer when you have, one or two gentlemen there that can do it. And hopefully the new director would, be one of those signers. But I'm really trying to just plan stuff, plan the buses, plan your money, trying to get things in place for them. So yeah, I don't, I'm happy to help, but I'm ready to go.
We will be fully involved in the process of hiring the new director. we're gonna take our time. Leadership is like one of the most important things, that we've noticed, and we know what we're looking for in a director. So with that being said, any other questions or comments concerning the contract and resolution? Roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the resolution of appointment of the interim executive director and contract is approved.
Thank you, Board. Moving on, Richard, Nick stole my thunder. We've hired a certified mechanic as the maintenance manager, which is something Takata needs. I think it'll reduce some of the outside costs that we've experienced with vendors' maintenance. As Molly alluded to, stole my thunder on the auditor update. The one thing that I would like to confirm, his name's Derek. Would the board like a presentation from Derek next month?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll reach out to Derek. He was willing to come this month, but I thought this is gonna be long enough as it is. Stole my thunder on the software vendor, but what I just would comment, and the software potentially could save us some labor hours in the dispatch area. The software that Takata currently uses basically an Excel type database. The newer softwares have maps underneath them where the computer can make the decision on where an option for the passenger that's calling in to go. So that takes some of the, processing away from the dispatcher, creates more time for them. So there is more efficient software through technology that we're looking at. Of course, it's nothing I want to operate, so we want the operations and the dispatcher staff to see this, make sure they're comfortable with it, ask questions now before we spend, another $100,000 on that type of purchase. But I think it's something Takata needs if you want to make progress and catch the rest of the transit world. Emily's working on, I think has completed all the job descriptions that we needed. You asked about hiring. The one on the organizational chart that's not full is the interim director. But there again, I think, your permanent executive director should make a decision on who he or she wants supporting them during their time in office. It's, I have my own ideas, but I'd be happy to share that with them if they're interested. So that's not posted either.
What's not posted?
The interim director job.
Oh, okay.
Because I think you should wait till you get a director because it's a critical relationship between director
Oh,
and
the
interim.
intern.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Deputy director.
Deputy director. Yes, you don't want another interim director, no doubt about that. You want a deputy director that would work closely with, and that builds redundancy in it too, in case the executive director, decides to make a move, and you have a deputy there that would know how to continuation of operations. If there's anything more critical on that March report, I did make notes for this meeting, and I didn't get them on one of those pieces of paper, but I think we can talk through them. So with the MDOT and the signature piece, I'm going to report to MDOT that we want Nick and Ford and Richard Lee to be signers. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's a form I have to fill out for that, or they can fill it, we'll fill it out. Audit presentation. We talked a little bit about driver hiring. I would suggest a human resource committee come in and have a direct discussion and try to, create a policy regarding that. And I would certainly like to talk to the human resource committee about some of the numbers I heard discussed here today that I don't necessarily agree with as far as fleet and staffing. But I'm just here to share information with you. You're gonna have a new person here shortly, and you can, bring on 30 drivers if you think it's necessary, or if they think it's necessary. Executive director search, you get the contracts, official database, application. The insurance pool sent out a letter. I think they're gonna be sending it to the board, but they gave me a heads up. It's called Reservation of Rights. They're potentially not gonna cover certain lawsuits internally, and they'll be sending the board a letter, probably the chair of the board a letter on that. And I want to make you aware of it, because we do have several pending. It's good to hear about the ADA badges, because they have been asking me about those too, and we really need to have some retraining, I think, in dispatch. ADA is a very specialized population, written into law by Clinton many years ago, and they have certain rights with their disability, and I don't think they're being having accessible service at this point. It's compliant. Again, another staffing issue. Suggest there, your human resource, committee meeting issue. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I certainly would.
Can I have a motion to approve the interim director's report?
So move. I second it.
Any questions or comments, concerns for the interim director? I guess I would just say that if you could work closely with Nick and Richard to fill those positions, especially for, I don't think it's fair to just say, hey, y'all look around and everybody, help everybody else out, and it's basically like, I get what you're saying. If I work a job, you do help out, but I don't think, if we can provide someone of those positions, put someone in those positions that can take away some of the legwork, because if I'm not mistaken, in the dispatch, they have to do the reports and everything as well, and we haven't had the ridership report since about December or November. We haven't had a ridership report, and the dilemma from that, from our understanding, was because of they were backed up on the paperwork in the dispatch office. So I think putting someone there to help them out, getting us some more drivers so we can get our customers to their appointments and things faster. I think that's what we need to focus on. And just like you said, we have the lowest ridership, and we have a lot of people that depend on the dollar rides to get where they need to go. And so we know what the holdup is. Why not fix it?
I'd be happy to address those issues. I seriously recommend the board with their human resource group come in and let's have a discussion and set some make some firm decisions on what to do.
Well, David will reach out with you guys and make that arrangements.
I look forward to that.
Any other questions or concerns or comments? If none, roll call, please.
Chairperson Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray,
Yes.
Secretary Smith, yes. Mr. Nesbit,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the interim director report is approved. So are these agreements the same? Is this the same thing that we already had?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was a Holstra must purchase.
Oh, okay. The next order of business is old business. There is none. There's no new business. Public comments. You have 2 minutes. If you can stand and state your name.
Hi, my name is Ronette McKinney. And I've been working for Dollar Ride since 2010. I got hired in. I have to write it down because I forget. In 16. So imagine working that long, 6.5 years, and looking forward to your benefits and your vacation and whatnot. Once I got hired in, I worked a whole year and then got my vacation days. Last year, that's when everything changed. In January, we had our days. A couple months later, all our days were gone. And ever since then, I couldn't even write it down what Gusto says. I'm negative 36 sick days. I'm negative. I don't understand that. My vacation days, I should have 72. I got 43. I've only took one day, and because of the new policies or whatever, I took that in February for a funeral. And then they say about absences, when you're working and you don't have anything to, you can't take a day off. Yeah, you burn yourself out. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself, so maybe I would call in, or I would turn in a paper in less than 30 days, and then I get wrote up, because the paper has to go through so many hands. But when I was coming in, I heard Mr. Gray talking about vacation days, so I'm not gonna spend my whole 2 minutes on that. Gusto also is not being updated. I got requests for sick days where I'm just used to maybe going and say, TJ, I got a doctor's appointment, and I usually make him so I could at least work half a day. He write it down on his calendar, and that's fine. Gusto still has pending requests where it's not even been updated. And I'm not picking on anybody, but I called and I asked, I put in some time. Nick did get back to me quickly for Christmas and said it was approved, but it wasn't showing up on Gusto. So just it coming out of his mouth wasn't good enough for me. So I waited a while. I called Emily, and Emily said, oh yeah, I got it on my to-do list to approve it. I don't know if it's just a click, but you didn't click it. So those are the things I don't understand. And then as far as Dollar Ride, it's better. It's a whole better vibe. It's changing, so it's coming back. But the wait time for Dollar Ride, when I was riding 25 years ago, it's always been within an hour. You got maybe what the shifts is cut out, but just saying if everybody was there before the 9:50 shift, about 7 or 8 drivers. Well, we still have to cover Benton Heights, all this area. So yeah, it's gonna be some wait time. So that's something that should have been fixed years ago. And I don't know how it could be fixed. So I don't want to speak on it too much. I just know my cousin works in a bus station in Milwaukee, and she said they had that same problem, but it can be fixed. So maybe you just haven't ran across the right program yet. But it's still, even with when Dollar Ride was at its best, there was still a wait time. And y'all know that as drivers. And I'm glad that you said you vet the calls, because sometimes they just angry and just mad. People have sat in the seat and said, well, can you just drop me off first? We in Country View. I can't take you to Riverview and pass by all these other people's. So I'm glad y'all vet the calls and don't just blame it all on the drivers, because they do call. And I think I ran through my list, but thank you so much. And Dollar Ride, thank you for the raise and everything. It's coming back. It's slow, but it's coming back.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
My name is Tornita. Excuse me. I'm a little under the weather, but however, I'm a dispatcher. I've been at Dollar Ride a little over 2 years, and for certain comments to be made, such as they don't feel like we need help downstairs, I don't think it's appropriate, because as a dispatcher, I have to dispatch, answer the phone, do paperwork, buzz the drivers in and out as they come in and use the bathroom, answer the radio if something going on over the radio. So you tend to be distracted a lot, and you can't really focus on what your job is. And to have a part-time phone answerer who works for the first 4 hours of the morning, you might have 5 lines ringing with one person answering the phone. So all of that plays a part in some of these complaints. We have a restroom that multiple women use throughout the day. It don't get cleaned sometimes for 3 and 4 days. We have blood spills, different feces drops or whatever. And Dollar Ride is almost ran like it's two separate entities, an upstairs and a downstairs. And so I feel like my health and safety downstairs should be just as important as the people upstairs, regardless to the title. When you're working with a skeleton crew, the complaints are almost gonna go out the window, because who do you really point the finger at when it starts at the top?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I have a question. The University of Michigan, I thought that they were going to be implementing an app where riders can actually view where the bus is actually located, so they can have an idea of when, like an ETA, of when the bus is coming. Was that ever implemented? Is it in process, or is it something that will or won't happen?
I think, Emily, haven't you been working with University of Michigan? I think it's the mobility manager that.
So it wasn't for the app, it was for another, it was a mobility manager, it's another title of it. But it wasn't for the app.
Oliver, did you?
I can address it, Richard, I'll address it to one Richardson, it's okay.
Yes. There was a study being done by the University of Michigan in which, when it started off, Dollar Ride, we were partnering with them and we were in the process of doing some things, but over the course of time, it got discontinued over the last year. And some of the things that they're talking about and doing, we can do some of that with this new dispatch software that we're looking into. But the University of Michigan, during the time that I wasn't here, that was stopped. They have, I think, reached back out to us.
Well, we have went to a couple of meetings and sat in a couple of meetings with them, so it was in progress. I guess probably with the different changes of leadership that we've had, it's probably been put on hold. But that is something that we're still working with the University of Michigan, so I guess that's something that right now Oliver, our intern, could probably, I don't know, be the liaison between the Dollar Ride and University until we get an actual director. Would you like to?
Yeah, the University of Michigan has done a lot of projects for Takata and provided funding for some of the projects as well. The most recent goal from Director Creighton was to create an app like you're talking about. I don't think she really understood what she was getting into, because an app's great, but it's still got to come to the dispatcher and go through the routing software. Otherwise, you're not on a schedule, and you'll never get a bus flashing up unless you're put on a schedule. So I think Takata likes the idea of a customer being able to hit an app, or perhaps a hospital where you have a patient that's getting released and be able to computer in or app in for that patient. The university doesn't have any money to pay for this routing software / application. Routing software runs between $100,000 and $500,000, depending on how complex you want to go. And an app is a little more, much more complex than they have right now. I mentioned a map base earlier. It's a little bit more than that. But we have talked to a vendor today that's going to prepare a quote for similar routing software, what they have with a map under it and with an app available for it. So, I mean, we're hoping, but I'm not promising. With the reason it's coming out of Takata's, it's not going to, some other things aren't going to be done. You have to, you only get so much money, and prioritize is key. But I think software, again, would help the dispatchers, because it would relieve some of that Tornita just explained that she has to do in there.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your interest.
Any other comments?
Do I need to sit over there?
I mean, yeah.
My name is June Williams. I'm the office manager at Takata. I think I'll start by saying, because I can actually agree with Tornita. Our bathrooms don't get cleaned as well. So we actually hold ourselves till we probably at the end of the day, and we're all kind of running out to go use the restroom because we hold them, because our bathrooms aren't being cleaned either. we're not cleaning the bathroom, but we sweep our own floors, we take our own trash out. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we're in the same boat. So we've been dealing with that. We actually just said the other day, Monday, well, maybe we could just start taking bathroom breaks. Like you go this time, go run home, take a bathroom break or whatever the case may be. And I think everything starts with just being a good human being. You gotta treat people the way they're supposed to be treated, but also the way you want to be treated. And we gotta stop sowing the seeds of discord. Everything starts some way. We all know it starts at the head and it trickles on down. So if we want to be in a leadership position, we all have to conduct ourselves as leaders. Like for myself, a title doesn't matter, but I know as much things as I do, like the side conversations or the messy conversations, we gotta stop. It's ridiculous. You can't even go into a regular work day without he said this or they said this in dispatch. Come upstairs and can we use the printer or one of them come through the front? It's ridiculous at this point. And it needs to stop. It's not healthy for anybody. Like anybody at all. I can't tell you the last time I took my high blood pressure pills, and I've been in the emergency room every other weekend because my blood pressure is 171 over 117. It's ridiculous. It's just too much. It's getting to the point where what do? You keep on going, keep trying to keep a smile on your face, keep being a professional person. It's like, what do we do? Like, who do you lean on? Who do you go to? It's just like, like I said, it's so many leaks. It's like we got to get a foundation that's a secure foundation at this point. It's like, what do we do? And that's the point where we're at. What do we do? And we're coming in there every day, working our butts off, doing this, doing that. And it's like every day is something. We wake up having a good day, and then we know as soon as we get to Takata, it's gonna be something. As soon as we picking around corners, tiptoeing, walking on eggshells, and that's not how a workplace should be.
Thank you. The culture is one thing that we have talked about with professionalism, integrity, confidentiality. It's just something that's missing in the culture that's been at Dollar Ride. We definitely looking into a new director. That's one of the main things that we're looking for is someone with integrity, with leadership and professionalism that will, like you said, it starts at the top. So if you're portraying those features, then everybody else will portray those characteristics. So
I did visit Takata a couple weeks ago, and I went to the women's bathroom, and I don't know, that's almost like an outhouse. I'm serious.
So is that maintenance? Would that be a maintenance thing?
Well, our maintenance, who normally does the yard, has been cleaning the bathroom when available, when he has time. We've been asking for a cleaning person. It's been denied.
Okay, well, human resource.
My thing is, it needs more than just cleaning. It needs to be upgraded. The bathroom needs to be upgraded. It is. I mean, it does. I mean, and I apologize to you guys for women to go in that bathroom. I mean, it needs to be upgraded. It's not good.
At least get it clean for the meantime. So with human resources, is that a position that we could also add a cleaning person, please? We did, everything.
That was something I'll be looking into with.
Hi, I'm Joanne Rayford. I'm the chapter chairperson for the Union 2757, and I'm trying to find out if you're going to put James Hersey Parker on the agenda because he was terminated. I spoke with Mr. Oliver. We spoke today.
Yep. So James Mr. Hershey just has to take the necessary steps. We are aware of the meeting, so he has to go to the next step. The grievance doesn't really just go, you filed a grievance and now you're at the board. Mm-hmm. So we're just making sure that he follows the procedures, and when he gets to that step, he will be added to the agenda, and we will notify you.
Okay. Question. Did you take the proper steps of going to the union rep first and see what he recommended?
We went through the steps. The ones that we could go through, we did. Because at the time, we didn't have, the executive director was gone. So at that time, Mr. Ford was in the position, so we went to him. After him, there was nobody else. There's nobody else to go to. It was just him. Mr. Lee wasn't here. So, and then
What I'm
doing,
saying is, did you go to your president first?
yes, I spoke to
And
him.
Did you get a response from that
Yeah,
person?
I spoke to him, yes,
No, I'm asking, did you get a response from him?
yes,
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
yes.
Okay.
So now moving forward, just take the next step, what would be the procedures?
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments? If there are none, board, any comments from the board? Commissioner Singleton, we'll start with you.
Yeah. Just listening, it was first board meeting and listening to some of the challenges, that's definitely facing us. It was kind of refreshing to hear this young lady too, which I do agree that it's a lot of money getting ready to come for transportation. This is, Washington is, taking transportation serious. I think Benton Harbor, this area is prime for getting that, getting money and to upgrade. We didn't have a system for quite some time. I think, it's a new day that people need to really take that very serious. It's an opportunity to hire folks. I think somebody mentioned earlier, felony friendly, people get second chance, so I think it's incumbent on everybody to just say, hey, take a breath and let's, make this thing right and make this atmosphere more pleasant. I think it'll roll over into the users also, because if some of those things are going on inside is what, I hear, that, the customers gonna feel it, they'll feel it. So I think somehow we just have to, okay, anything in the past, leave it in the past, and let's take a new day and make this thing work.
Thank you. Mr. Nesbitt?
I'm just glad to be part of the board, and a lot of things that I've heard tonight, that we can come together collectively and make this thing work, because we, as citizens of Benton Harbor, everybody, we need Dollaride, and we need the improvement that we can make. We just come together. It's not one person to do this. It's a team effort that we have to do. And once we come together and as a team, and a lot of things I've heard, the software, the new card system, I think that's gonna be an improvement to our system. It's gonna help a lot of things. So we just got to look at each other and say, hey, forget about the things that Singleton has said, what happened yesterday, and think about what's happening tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and keep going in that direction so we can do that. Thank you.
Ms. Smith? Vice Chair Gray?
My thing is, leadership comes from above. And if you don't have the leadership from above leading the right way, you're gonna have a downfall. And that's what we need, leadership. And that's just not saying that Mr. Derby, that's coming from management. Management needs to manage and come together. You cannot build nothing if you divide it. And some of the stuff I heard tonight, we need to come together. Because I worked for Dakota for years, and it'll be a tragedy to see something go down here, especially something that a black man founded, Mr. Brown, Wilbur Brown. That'll be a tragedy to see it, and we need, as residents of Benton Harbor, we need to stand together and as management come together and keep this going. Because I'm gonna do my damage to do it, to keep it. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna do my part. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. I guess a culture change is just really what we need moving forward. Contrary to what the rumors are, Dollar Ride is not about to be taken over and about to be taken and things like that. That's not where we're lacking. We're good when it comes to our black and white and our paperwork. What we need is just treat people right. And we just, like you said, leadership. The next leader that we get in, I'm praying that, that's one of the things that they don't lack on is the leadership and making sure they create a culture and an atmosphere where everybody is kind to each other. There's no big people or little people. Like you said, the upstairs and downstairs is one company. And if people start putting the purpose first instead of looking at the people, and the bigger picture is the company. So, like I said, everybody's here. We're here volunteering. So we're here for our community. We're not here to try to take positions, take the money. None of that. We want to see Dollar Ride doing good. We want to see everybody getting along, and we just want a culture change. And again, that starts with yourself. So how are you treating each other? How are you treating the next person? So I think that's one of the things, if we all focus on our own selves and our lanes, that would be so much better and just learn how to be mature adults. I think things will get better, but we are getting better. I mean, I appreciate our drivers for taking the time out of your schedules to be here, to let us know what's going on, because we don't work there, so we don't know, day-to-day operations. So thank you guys for coming and expressing your concerns, and hopefully, the administration will take those concerns into consideration and do what you need to do to move forward. Thank you all for coming tonight. Can we have a motion to adjourn the monthly meeting?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
Anything else? If not, it is so moved. Roll call.
Chairperson Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Gray.
Yes.
Secretary Smith. Yes. Mr. Nesbitt.
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton.
Yes.
It is so moved that the meeting is adjourned at 7:44 p.m. Thank you all for coming. Oh, okay.
Now we're going to
Okay.
laptop, the laptop and bring in yours a copy.
They would have said.
Nah, today I can't, like I got there like
I think they be there until 8. I think they said.
Yeah.
You got my new name plate, Jeff?
Which one?
Look at that name plate.
They know you gonna buy.
I was just like, you could like.
You've been doing so much stuff in that. I've been wanting to come and do that and take it in my mind.
Oh, June, when you get that?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
When you get the call email for it.
Oh, for it to you, okay.
Like it's a
Bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's this.
Yeah, you need to take it, yeah.
Look. It's gonna be a board meeting.
Someone take baby. Someone take baby, lunch. I was gonna.
I don't want it.
We were.
That's what I'm-
No, I was gonna
She
give
was
you,
gonna take
but
it.
it wasn't enough. Okay.
I just know.
Yeah, include me in the extra. Okay. Do you?
Okay.
That's mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Wow.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
All right, see y'all next month.
Wow.
Thank you guys. Thank you. And I'll make sure when she send me your email, I'll send you guys some information, just like the welcome page.
Okay. All right, all right.
Mr. Nathan, what's your telephone number?
Oh, 269, sorry.
See you later. Yes, you do. You gotta say thank you to your
Yeah,
community.
all right, thank you.
Can
My handwriting.
No, you gotta get up and say, how you doing, Mr. Williams? Excuse me?
He got the thing to do.
He can't hear you.
Yeah, so it's,
I'm
you know,
sorry.
like,
I said, how you doing,
Yeah,
Mr.
like,
Williams? Good.
so we kind of was like running around. Because the thing that I do, you know, stuff like that, but she came with, you know. She look cute, she look cute.
I mean, is there,
So I want to get them out a week ahead of time.
so is there like, so database, like, you know how like that, Microsoft, like, you want that
So what I
program?
do is I just, so I made up my own format, and what I could do is I'll just email you the format, you know, like all my formats that I use, and we just input stuff in there and just go like that.
Because I've been trying to, you know, like, I've been checking, like, let know, like, who's, mention emotions and all that. I do trying to, you know, digest
Yeah.
I am on our list.
Yeah.
So, I can do, I have been meeting that.